trying to go back to what we were talking about with Robert Sherman, and that was the hostage situation and the war between Israel and Hamas, because we're joined now by a former Green Beret in David Dezso, who is now the founder and CEO of the Banyan Risk Group. So, David, I'm sorry to keep you waiting there for a moment. Just got a lot of balls in the air here in terms of what we're juggling breaking news-wise, but I do want to get back to the focus of something Robert brought up, which is these hostages. Again, Qatar expressed some optimism that we might still be able to make some sort of a deal, a large-scale deal, to get the hostages out. What would you say about that for release so far?
I think when you have 200 hostages that are mostly civilian and innocent in the system, they should be releasing at least the children and the women. There's no big gain publicly or propaganda-wise by holding innocent children and women. The strategic assets would be the IDF soldiers that you'd want to hold on to work your negotiations. But at a minimum, Qatar and others are asking for a release of women and children to make them look like a more legitimate organization and get the world's outrage off them a little bit. And as we move farther away from the savage attacks when it started into a more negotiation aspects, you would think that they would release those children, but there's also no proof of life on these hostages, right? So we haven't seen much. We've gotten a couple debriefings out of the ones that have been released. We know they're split up in 25 or fewer groups, or 25 people per group. So again, the release needs to be actioned through Qatar, and through the women and the children need to go first, for sure.
You know, one of the things in talking to people with the kind of expertise that, you have in working special forces, I'm sure you've had some experience with this over the years, is that this is large scale. To your point, there's over 200 hostages in a situation that at least we've read about and maybe you've experienced in the past. You might have a hostage taken, and then the proof of life is usually someone forced to read some sort of a statement, and they show the newspaper, the way, all that kind of stuff that these terrorists have done in the past. What about the scale of this? Have you ever seen something on this scale, and how does that change how it's dealt with from the military and the diplomatic point of view?
No, this scale is unique for sure. I think when we look back at Iran sacking our embassy years ago in 1979, they took like 66 hostages, but they were co-located in a building, and so we thought there was actually success possibility with that rescue. Since then, they learned to separate and keep them hidden underground, all these things. So today they're in tunnels, they're isolated. It'd be a very complex, almost impossible operation, because you can't rescue one section of these hostages in one set of tunnels and then lose the other ones. And on top of that, the amount of forces it would take to have a successful plan there would be intense and incredible. So we haven't seen something like this on a global scale like this in a long time. So I think the other thing for Israel is time's on their side, right? So like the more they strangle it out as far as like the resources and the fuel and all that stuff, the more they have a better chance of getting these hostages back diplomatically. The other thing I would say is that when you talk about that fuel crisis and all that, the fuel would go straight to the Hamas soldiers. There are humanitarian components, but what we've seen before is when terrorists own certain areas and they get some type of international aid, it typically goes to the foot soldier or the operational campaign. So keeping those tunnels, generators running with fuel and power and all that stuff will be critical to them and how they keep their negotiations open.
So does that make it imperative on Israel then, if they care about the humanitarian situation, to actually move in with ground troops sooner rather than wait? Or how do you see that playing out timing-wise?
Yeah, that's a great question, Connell. I think the challenge is that if you move into the south, you also have to worry about the north. So while they're preparing for an invasion to Gaza, they also have to prepare for Hezbollah and what's going to happen on the north. And so you're essentially planning for a two-front war, and the southern front, or the southern portion, is incredibly complex. And when you look at when ISIS took Mosul, it took us a year to get ISIS out of Mosul. So it wasn't a fast action thing. So when we say they're preparing the battlefield, or they're softening the targets, or they're developing the intelligence picture, that takes a lot of time and effort and thousands of resources and people to do it. I also think they're getting up to date with their training, their weapons, or resourcing. I'm sure there's a lot of U.S. advisement. But again, you can't just roll in and rescue 200. I mean, it took 1,000 Hamas soldiers to gather these 200 hostages. And so to go get these 200 hostages, like you said, where there's 25 different nationalities, it's just incredibly complex and geopolitical risks all around. So
yeah, so special ops or anything like that, and you're a former Green Beret yourself, is just, it seems like it's out of the question right now. David, terrific analysis. It is, as you say, it's so complex. Let's have you back again soon to talk about this, as obviously this is going to continue. But thank you for today.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.